very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Mugello. It's the final round of the Ferrari Challenge. And we have all the European drivers about to take to the track. And by all, I mean all. The Trofeo Pirelli cars, the Copa Shell cars, the lady racers, all going to be on track. In fact, 45 cars on track here in Mugello. This 5.245 kilometer track, 14 turns, 6 left, 8 right. It's going to be a very, very busy place indeed. There you can see the circuits, the final 2 races in Ferrari Challenge for 2017. They do have another race to do on Sunday, but it is the world final race. It doesn't count for points in the championship series. Some fantastic shots around this circuit, and there is one that will remain forever in our hearts. Sadly missed, Jules Bianchi. And there is the Hublot safety car standing by to send the cars away on their formation lap for this penultimate race in the championship for 2017. Alessandro Vezzoni we're on board with now, one of the pro drivers who will be going from P5 on the grid in terms of his pro position. He was actually lining up P6 on the grid because Jens Liebhauser, the AM driver, actually posted a faster lap in qualifying. The fastest lap in qualifying came from Niklas Nielsen. Very talented young driver who has raced in ADAC Formula 4, also in the Audi Sport TT Cup, and he's here in the Ferrari Challenge. Nielsen and Fabio Lima line up on the front row with Grossman and Barron. That could be interesting on the second row. I'll tell you more in a moment. Then it's Jens Liebhauser and Alessandro Vezzoni before Zanazzi, Sam Smith, Johnny Lawson, Fabienne Volven, first ever lady to win in the Ferrari Challenge, ahead of Manuela Gosner and Henry Hassid, chasing Johnny Lawson in the AM points, Copa Shell points, beg your pardon. Then it's Martin Nelson, Eric Prenot, Christoph Ernie, Chris Froggatt, and behind Chris Froggatt it's Vladimir Hladek and Thomas Gosner, ahead of Josh Ukatu, Eric Chung, James Rayland, Christian Kinch, and it's Ingvar Madsen and Tani Hanna, von Skeltermar, Murat Kuhadaruglu, Claudio Schiavone, Mark Broff, Thomas O'Rourke, Robin Jensen, Tommy Lindroth, Pierre Nielsen, Christian Overgaard, Tina Koch. Nussbaumer goes from P35. Galipatar, the best of the 458 drivers, ahead of Dusan Palkra and Holger Harmsen, his opponent in the 458s, with Kriton Lendudis, Henrik Kamstrup, David Lim, and then we see Pierre Fjellholt, Laurent Demuse, Kjærsgaard, and Bonamy Grimes bringing up the rear of the grid. So Davide Rigon down there on track, looking at the car of Niklas Nielsen. It's going to cause some confusion. It's identical livery to that of Johnny Lawson. There, the number 8 car of Fabio Lima, engineered by Octane 126. 12 races, 2 wins. Fabio Lima, former single-seater start. Back with Octane 126 for this Ferrari Challenge. A pair of races here in Mugello. Fabienne Volven then, 4 races, 1 win. And we should add 1 pole position as well. So Fabienne, who holds the record and has made history by becoming the first ever lady racer to win a race outright in the Ferrari Challenge. So the Trofeo Pirelli Pro Championship has won and been won by Daniele Diamato, who is not here this weekend. The AM Championship is a battle between Jens Liebhauser and Chris Froggatt and Martin Nelson. And in Copa Shell, the battle is between Johnny Lawson and Henry Hassid. And in the Ladies' Cup, the battle is between Manuela Gosner and Fabienne Volven now. And there is the Johnny Lawson car. So 29 races, 3 wins Johnny Lawson has taken. He has been a very, very consistent points scorer, though, and has banked lots of points. You're very welcome to join us here in Mugello. There is the Jens Liebhauser car. 15 races, 3 wins. And Jens Liebhauser, another one who's consistently banked points. And Jens Liebhauser then is the best of the AM drivers, having qualified that car P5 overall, but P1 in AMs.
Hello, I'm Jens Liebhauser, leader of the Trofeo Pirelli AM class. Today I want to show you the magic world of Ferrari Challenge here at the Finale Mondiali. Let's go and have a look behind the scenes. Come guys. This is the race control. My colleagues from America and Asia Pacific are doing the first test. On the race control, everything will be controlled: track limits, accidents for red flag, yellow flag, wet track. So that's the magic house here on the track. For the Finale Mondiali, we are not in the boxes. We have the special tents this time. And this is my beautiful car, which I'm racing with in a couple of minutes. You see, we not have only the Ferrari Challenge here, we have also all the Formula Uno Clienti program and many, many more cars, which I show you right now. This little house here is the beginning and the end of every race. And I am looking forward to see this flag the first.
A super little piece that was with Jens Liebhauser, the very likeable German driver, who will be going from P5 on the grid. But best of the AM drivers by some measure, it has to be said. Chris Froggatt, the next fastest, he's going from P16 on the grid. And Joshua Katu going from P19 on the grid. Martin Nelson, meantime, is going from P13 on the grid. So some distance back from Jens Liebhauser. Claudio Schiavone, the car that we were looking at there, car number 302. So Claudio Schiavone then, a bit further down the grid as well. So Trofeo Pirelli, Copa Shell, ladies, gentlemen, AMs, pros, everything combined to put together an enormous 45 grid race in the Ferrari Challenge Europe Series, which reaches its conclusion this weekend. Whose pole position?
Hello guys, my name is Niklas Nielsen from Denmark, and I took pole position in the overall classification today.
Hi, I'm Johnny Laursen. I have pole in Shell, and I'm very proud for my team. We have pole in AM, Pirelli, in Pro, Pirelli, and in Shell. So it can't be better. We're looking forward to a great weekend.
I'm Jens Liebhauser. I did the pole position in the Trofeo Pirelli AM, and I'm looking forward for a good race. Fingers crossed.
Well, it has been a knockout qualifying session for Formula Racing then, who have poles across AM, Copa Shell and Pro as well. Alongside me, top Ferrari GT driver who knows all about winning, James Collado. Welcome, lovely to see you, James.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Just a week's time, you want to be winning again, friend?
Yeah, exactly. Off to China. 2 races left. Yeah, we're leading the World Championship. So yeah, pressure's on, and yeah.
Well, you know you've got the pace in you and the car, so
Exactly.
we wish you well for that. This is going to be a heck of a race because we've thrown everything together here, and a grid of 45 cars. I'm tempted to say something that I'm not going to say, James, because you've got the pro drivers, the AM drivers, the Copa Shell drivers, the gentleman racers, the lady racers as well. It's a heck of a mixed pot.
Yeah, amazing grid, and I mean we've seen some great action today. So looking forward to this one. I mean, always entertaining. Always love to be here watching it, especially at Mugello.
Okay, well, a very technical circuit, Mugello. We're on board with Johnny Lawson looking back then, and Johnny Lawson, who of course is leading the points in the Copa Shell class. There is Philip Barron weaving from side to side. Now, I mentioned earlier in the program, Philip Barron and Bjorn Grossman are on the second row of the grid. May I remind you of the last race at Imola, where Bjorn Grossman touched Philip Barron on the exit of a turn. Philip Barron ending up spinning and pirouetting into the barriers. Just thought I'd bring that up because Grossman and Barron really do have some history, and go on both of them on the second row of the grid. This could be a very, very interesting start. Barron will want to be ahead of Grossman, that's for sure. Niklas Nielsen, young driver, of course, having raced single-seaters in Formula 4 and also in the Audi Sport TT Cup, and he's got into a GT car, and James, to be fair, he's done really well in qualifying, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, just looking at all the names I see in front of me, you know, it's a very talented grid. You've got also Fabio Lima, who I raced with in GP2. He was actually the champion and wasn't fortunate enough to make the step into Formula 1. So it's great to see him in this. It just goes to show how competitive you know, this championship is. So yeah, looking forward to it. It's great to see.
So then the cars will grid up behind the Hublot safety car then as they make their way through the final chicane here and head towards turn number 14, the Buccini turn. And you go downhill towards the start-finish straight. Quite a bit of tyre debris on the track. We're late afternoon now, local time, and into the early evening. And you'll see how Fabio Lima is very, very lively. Alongside Niklas Nielsen then. And around the final turn goes the Hublot safety car ahead of the start of this race. Always a rolling start in the Ferrari Challenge. And here comes the music to build the anticipation for their first race of the weekend. So we await the lights to go green, which they do now. Philip Barron already on the loud pedal, trying to get past Bjorn Grossman from his P4 starting position on the grid. Niklas Nielsen heading them into turn number 1 as this huge pile of cars make their way through, and sure enough, Philip Barron has done that. He's on the inside of Bjorn Grossman. Fabio Lima are on the outside, and Barron makes sure his car is wide enough to secure that P3 position. Niklas Nielsen done everything that he needed to do. Jens Liebhauser, another driver on the move, on the inside of Alessandro Vezzoni as they make their way through the chicane for the first time of asking. If all 45 cars make it through there without a skirmish, it will be a jolly good job indeed. Sam Smith, another driver on the move. That's Martin Nelson from Scuderia Autoropa. He's got Henry Hassid ahead of him. Oh, and there's contact there between Sam Smith and Jens Liebhauser. So that's the opening lap of this Ferrari Challenge Europe race then. Henry Hassid ahead of Martin Nelson. Henry Hassid, who is chasing Johnny Lawson right at the top of the Copa Shell points. And in this race we have both Copa Shell and Trofeo Pirelli drivers as well. Now we know how quick that all-orange car is, driven by, this situation, this race, by Marco Zanassi. It's been the Trofeo Pirelli Pro winning car, driven by Daniele Diamato, who's not here this weekend. There is Philip Barron up to P3 then. Made his presence felt right at the start of this race. And We're on board with him now, looking back at the Octane 126 engineered car of Bjorn Grossman. So Grossman ahead of, or behind Philip Barron, but ahead of Alessandro Vezzoni. Just gets a bit of a wobble on there, and Sam Smith chasing him down. But Niklas Nielsen will break the beam of the timing light and complete the first lap and put it in the book, leading the race from Fabio Lima, GP2, former GP2 champion, Philip Barron P3, Bjorn Grossman P4, then it's Vezzoni Smith. Liebhauser is the best of the AM drivers, ahead of Henry Hassid and Martin Nelson. So Niklas Nielsen, James, did everything exactly right at the start of the race, and he wasn't, he didn't feel the pressure, did he? He didn't yield to the pressure of everyone else behind him.
No, yeah, I mean, in generally nice clean start. I actually expected it to be a lot worse than that.
Yeah.
So good to see. Yeah, did everything correct, held his line, quite aggressive, and now we can see he's just edging away with purple sectors. So good start. Obviously, still 27 minutes to go, so you know, a bit of a way to go, but let's see how it goes on now.
Lots of different battles going on in this race, of course. The only championship that's been awarded is the Trofeo Pirelli Pro Championship. The AMS still to be won, the Copa Shell still to be won, also the Ladies' Cup still to be won. Fabienne Volvend, who of course the lady racer who made history by becoming the first ever lady in Ferrari Challenge to win a race outright, did that in race 2 at Imola. There is Alessandro Vezzoni being chased down by the number 92 car of Sam Smith, the British racer. And he really is reeling Vezzoni in now. Jens Liebhauser is the car behind Sam Smith. It's the battle for P5 then between Vezzoni and Sam Smith at the moment. Vezzoni is a very, very difficult driver to get past unless Sam can provoke a mistake from this driver that we're on board with now. Alessandro Vezzoni, the Italian racer, loving his time in these all-new 488 Challenge cars. First time, of course, in the Ferrari Challenge that we've had a turbocharged car. And interestingly, James, speaking to a number of the drivers, including Alessandro, really had to perhaps change their driving a little bit to accommodate the different foibles, if you like, of a turbo car.
Yeah, I mean, when it first arrived last year, it was a whole new project for Ferrari. Quite a risk, actually, but yeah, we were suffering hugely with turbo lag, and it just means that it really affects your mid-corner kind of exits, really, and the way you apply the throttle. So all of these drivers, not as much now as when it first came out, but they will still have to adapt. They will still have to change their driving style slightly to compensate for the turbo. But really, it's quite efficient. It's a really good feeling to drive with the turbo, and you do feel a little bit more torque compared to the previous 458.
And we do have some of those 458 Evo cars in this race as well. They're in their own classification, and Holger Hansen is actually ahead of Galip Attar now. It's P33 and 34 in the race overall, but Holger Hansen, the German driver, has got the lead in the 458 classification at the moment. We're watching Niklas Nielsen, who's leading the race, but he is being chased down by Fabio Lima because the margin is staying the same. And in fact, Fabio Lima has just put a purple sector 1 in. So Fabio Lima on a bit of a charge. Philip Barron is P3. Bjorn Grossman is P4. Then it's Vezzoni, Smith, Hassid, Liebhauser, Nelson, Zanassi, and Johnny Lawson just outside the top 10, running in P11 at the moment. The Barron service team then on their pit wall look on, and there is Philip Barron, who ironically races for Rosso Corsa. That's a story for a different day as they make their way through the chicane now. There's Jens Liebhauser, Martin Nelson, and Zanazzi really chasing down Martin Nelson from Scuderia Autoropa, and just taking a sneaky look at the inside of that car, and is going to do it. I think there was a little bit of a touch between himself and Martin Nelson there. Now, going down the inside of that final turn, the Buccini turn here, if you leave the door open, James, presumably it does offer you the opportunity to get on the inside.
Yeah, exactly, and you've got a really nice long straight to toe against, so yeah, ideally the inside's the best way forward through there, and as you can see, it was nicely done. So yeah, good track for overtaking generally, Mugello. It's a good one.
But it is quite a technical circuit as
very
well,
technical,
James, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very high speed, so car setup crucially important. Obviously, you've got to manage you know, the rear wings. You know, you either go for downforce and try and gain speed through the corners, or you go for straight line speed. So there'll be a mix of different cars with different downforce levels, so it makes for good racing.
Chasing down Alessandro Vezzoni is Sam Smith now. Sam Smith, of course, was the AM champion last year and won with a couple of rounds still to go. Such was his dominance. He's elevated into the pro category this year and is still in the chance for P2 in the pro championship as Matteo Babalus Santaponte looks on, who acts as driver coach for a number of the drivers. There too is Florian Merckx, another former champion driver. And for my money, looks like Fabio Lima is just getting a little bit closer to Niklas Nielsen now. So Fabio Lima with lots of race experience, and as James reminded us earlier on, supremely successful in GP2, and now all over the back of Niklas Nielsen. Niklas Nielsen, a young rising star, no question about that. Very talented young driver, but with the might of Fabio Lima behind him, will he crack under the pressure? And it's now that Fabio Lima will try and get a tow, surely off the back of Niklas Nielsen's car to make a move going into turn one, James.
Yeah, it looks like he's found some speed. He's protecting the inside line now, so Fabio's on the outside. Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, good defending there by Nielsen, so let's see how it pans out. But it looks like to me that Nielsen had a car which is a little bit faster at the start. Maybe it could be something simple like tyre pressures, but it looks like Lima's really able to manage the grip, the tyres, and it looks like he's faster at this point. So we should probably see a move soon.
It's all very well being quicker. He's got to find a way past.
Exactly.
James,
Easier said than done. Trust me.
And throwing everything at it at the moment in P3 also is Philippe Barron. You can see him just kicking up some dust as he really explored the limits of the track here, and he's trying to chase these two down, but Nielsen and Lima are very, very quick. And last lap around it was a 52.9 from Fabio Lima, a 53.4 from Niklas Nielsen, so it was a good, very nearly 4 tenths gained by Fabio Lima. So Niklas Nielsen defending from Fabio Lima. To the left-hand side of your picture is Nicky Kadai, who again acts as driver coach for Kessel Racing for von Skeltermar primarily. Just looking down the order to find out where von Skeltermar is at the moment. P38. Von Skeltermar driving in the Copa Shell class. So we're focusing on this battle right at the front, which is Trofeo Pirelli drivers. And it's Fabio Lima P2 being led by Niklas Nielsen. Sam Smith, who still has not found a way past Alessandro Vezzoni, and will try and get underneath the Vezzoni car now, potentially try and move to the inside now, but not able to do so. And James, when you're in the position as Sam is here, where he's really pushing Vezzoni hard, he's taken quite a lot out of his tyres, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. As soon as you know, there is downforce in this car, so when you get close to someone, you lose the front end. So losing the front end, losing grip, you're scrubbing the tyres, and you're using them more than the guy in the front. So it's not so simple. It's not it's not like a touring car where you can follow. These are quick cars, and it's difficult to overtake. But normally you've got to try and make the guy in front make a mistake. It makes life a little bit easier. But like I said, easier said than done. But, these drivers are so equal now. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, at the moment, Vezzoni is doing a brilliant job of defending, but the attack from Sam Smith is ever more aggressive, and now he's got the inside. This should be the job done for Sam Smith. Sure enough, he does go through, and he just set that up absolutely perfectly.
Lovely.
Remained committed, didn't he, James?
Lovely move. Yeah, that was spot on.
So now we'll see if he can break away from Vezzoni as Vezzoni tries to come back now. We're on board with Alessandro Vezzoni, but now the overtake has been done. I just reckon we'll see Sam Smith disappearing up the road. So he now finds himself P5 and can get the chase on now to Bjorn Grossman, but he's a long way back from Bjorn Grossman. So also this was von Skeltermar and Tani Hanna in the 357 car, and this is a very sideways moment for somebody, losing out on a number of places there. So race lead, and Niklas Nielsen still showing a clean pair of heels to Fabio Lima, and has opened up just 7 tenths from the last lap. Let's see if that increases just a little bit on this occasion. Well, it is, but it's only 1/100ths, isn't it? So Fabio Lima is still within a shout, but he's not close enough to have a go at Niklas Nielsen going into turn number 1. The brake discs really light up. The braking energy that's used in these 488 cars to reduce the speed is Philip Barron in P3, who really hasn't been able to get on terms with these two. He's some 2 seconds down on the P1 and P2. So the leader in pros is Niklas Nielsen. Leader in AMs is Jens Liebhauser. Fastest lady racer is Manuela Gostner, who is ahead of Fabienne Volvend. And the best of the 458s is the German driver Holger Harmsen. Hopefully we've given you a roundup of everyone there. Henry Hassid is the quickest of the Cobra Shell drivers and also the gentleman racer, and Fons Skeltermar takes a trip across the grass then in the 377 Kessel racing car. Fons Skeltermar then the Netherlands-based racer, not having a brilliant time of it, and down there in P42 at the moment. Now the brake discs light up regularly in these cars, James, because the braking energy necessary to reduce the speed that comes from this powerful turbocharged engine. It's a phenomenal sight for us, and this was up against Laurent Demus, and Fons there, to be honest, he just lost the back end, didn't he?
Yeah, it was nearly collected there. Not sure who it was, but yeah, just a bit unfortunate, really.
So was that braking pressure that caused the back end to
Could have
step
been,
out?
yeah. I think, you know, the guy in front was probably just wary of what he was doing and just lost the rear. Easily done. You can see him trying to get back on the track there. So unfortunate, but you know, these things happen. But yeah, going back to the brakes, it's great to see. I love it. I wish we had that. Yeah, it's real good brakes with these cars, and obviously really high speed going into turn 1, as we can see the two in front now. So yeah, they are really great cars to drive.
So the 488 GTE is the car for the Ferrari Challenge this year. First time ever a turbocharged car in the Ferrari Challenge. We still have some of the 458 Evo cars in the race though. And probably this weekend is the last time we'll see them in the Ferrari Challenge, as everyone will migrate to the all-new 488 GTE car for next season. Which of course, traditionally, as always, the 2018 season will get underway at Monza. Well, I say as always, this year, first round was in Valencia in Spain. Niklas Nielsen leading by 7/10 over Fabio Lima then. Those two really breaking away from Philip Barron and Bjorn Grossman and Sam Smith and Alessandro Vezzoni and Henry Hassid, the best of the Cobra Shell drivers, ahead of Jens Liebhauser. Then it's Zanazzi, Martin Nelson and Johnny Lawson. And Johnny Lawson and Henry Hassid fighting in the points for the Cobra Shell Championship. Henry Hassid a few places ahead of Johnny Lawson. Philip Barron runs wide, so too does Bjorn Grossman. You can see how gapped the P3 and P4 cars are, and actually those in turn have really broken away from the likes of Sam Smith and Alessandro Vezzoni. Tani Hanna then on the receiving end of a little nerf there from Joshua Kartu in the number 45 car. No, I beg your pardon, it's Christian Overgaard, of course, not Josh Kartu. Christian Overgaard, who just got on the inside there, and that was a move that was never going to work, wasn't it?
Yeah, a bit ambitious, but yeah, I think Tani had a problem in the last race, didn't he? Had a gearbox change or something, from what I could see.
That was in quali, wasn't it?
Yeah, sorry, my fault. Yeah,
no, not at all.
But yeah, it's good that he's back out there and fighting hard, as you can see.
Tani has missed the last couple of rounds, so good to see him back out on the track. This is Henry Hassid then. Henry Hassid, with enormous racing experience, has done an awful lot of racing and joined us just after the start of the Ferrari Challenge for this season, and has won an awful lot of races. Jens Liebhauser really being put under pressure here now by the Zanazzi car. And the gap between Jens Liebhauser and Martin Nelson, which we put on screen, is 3.4 seconds. The reason we put that on screen is because they're chasing down in the points for the AM points. Eric Prinot, Manuela Gostner, who is leading Fabienne Volvend at the moment in the battle for first position in the lady races. And I have to say, James, both Manuela and Fabienne Volvend, and Fabienne I've talked about in other categories where she has raced, and has certainly not impressed the way she impressed us at Imola in the Ferrari Challenge, where she took a pole position and then took a race win in race 2. Because these are not easy cars to drive, are they?
No. And it honestly, it's really great to see. And, for her to be, or both of them to be so competitive in such a strong field,
yes,
is really, really nice to see. So, yeah,
they're running P13 and P14
exactly
in the race overall.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Good stuff from the ladies then. And a mistake from Manuela Gosner just as we were talking about them. That gives the opportunity to Fabian Volven to go ahead. So just a mistake from Manuela Gosner, who just lost the back end of the car on the... she ran a bit wide and was on the gravel, and that was all that Fabian Volven needed to put herself ahead of Manuela Gosner. So Fabian now leads Manuela Gosner in the Ladies' Cup races. And bear in mind, there isn't much between them in terms of the points for the Ladies' Cup because of the overall win that Fabian Volven and pole position really banked some important points at Imola. So there is Manuela Gosner then, who goes down a place to P14 in the race overall. Now the race being led by Niklas Nielsen, with Fabio Lima remaining within 8 tenths of Niklas Nielsen. So those two, there's almost nothing between them, but the charge that Fabio Lima was putting on Niklas Nielsen has gone away. Do you think, James, this is a bit strategic from Fabio, who's thinking, right, I'm just going to ease off, I'm going to keep within, and then towards the final stages of the race, that's when I will have a go, conserve his tyres a bit?
It could be, yeah, and it could also be the other way around, where
yes,
Nielsen was managing and now is starting to push. But they seem to be so equally matched at the moment. So it's just going to be. I mean, it's only 8 tenths. It's going to be down to who makes the mistake, who doesn't. So, yeah.
Baron makes a small mistake there, and it just allows Bjorn Grossman to get a little bit closer to him. So Philip Baron at the moment, who's running in P3 in that all-green car engineered by Rosso Corsa. Bjorn Grossman, stablemate of Fabio Lima from the Octane 126 team. Of course, Bjorn Grossman wears the number 1 because he took the Trofeo Pirelli Pro Championship last year, and supremely talented German racing driver Bjorn Grossman. And again, Philip Baron running very, very wide, and we've seen no warnings with regards to track limits this weekend. It's a bit of a moot point in racing at the moment, track limits, isn't it? But probably we're not going to open up that argument, James, are we?
It's so difficult, because when you know there's an advantage,
yes,
no matter if you're on the simulator or on the real thing,
yeah,
you just can't help but take as much speed as you can, and you've done wrong, but you just can't help it because you know you're going to be quicker. So I think it's just a racing driver's mentality, but obviously the stewards are not really looking into it that much. It seems that the majority are probably over the track limit, so the only thing further than the track limit is the gravel, and that's what I like to see. I like to see cars, if they make a mistake, that's it, you're in the gravel, or put a wall there. That's what I really. Is this something wrong with
I think it's just
Baron?
I just think he's taken so much.
So yeah,
I mean, I agree with you, James, and I think the problem, getting past a backmarking car, Philip Baron there, I think the problem I have is that across different racing series, across different circuits, it seems to be the inconsistency in terms of stewarding, James. Sorry.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it also depends if you really gain an advantage, because there are some tracks where you don't necessarily get an advantage. There could be AstroTurf, there could be curbs. So the stewards would look into that. But you are right, there is inconsistency throughout different racetracks and different championships. But as long as it's the same for everyone,
absolutely,
and not one gets a penalty and not the other, I think that's the best the steward can do in that period of time. So it looks like to me, from what I saw in the quali, a lot of, I'd say 80% of them were over the white line. So does the steward penalise 80% of them, or does he just say, right, okay, the limit is the gravel?
Well, Niklas Nielsen and Fabio Lima, you did really well there, James, getting me out of that little political muddle before I got into too much trouble. Fabio Lima is still chasing down Niklas Nielsen, and of course, with such a busy track, that was an error that I could see coming. Vladimir Hladek, that's Manuela Gosner, and Vladimir Hladek involved in that, and I could almost see that unfolding before.
Yeah, I guess that's going to be a safety car as well.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
There you go.
Well, the move was never really on, James, was it?
To be honest, I didn't. It was all so fast. I didn't really see what happened, but obviously, not ideal for both cars. Safety car it is, and with only 8 minutes to go, let's see if they.
Well, the team here at Mugello, and we've had some safety cars today through volume of cars on the grid, I suppose. But to be fair, Chris Froggatt was involved in that as well. Thank you, Nico. And there we can see Chris Froggatt getting out of the car, and he, of course, is challenging in, or it was a challenger in the AM Championship. There's been another incredible whirlwind success. James, he only started racing towards the back end of last year. Here it is. Let's talk about him in a mo.
Okay.
It was Vladimir into the back of Manuela, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think by him backing out on the inside, he backed off on the move. He was hit. So it's difficult to put the blame on anyone there, but we'll see what happens. I'm sure it'll be investigated.
Oh, of course. Exactly. So we have the safety car. So yes, just back to what I was saying. Chris Froggatt, again, part of this Ferrari family has done some courses with the Corsa Pilota, and went out to the Middle East, did some racing over the winter to get his license, and to be challenging in the AM category for the championship, he's had an extraordinarily successful time of it.
It's really good to see, and that type of driver that's instantly challenging, instantly there and determined like that is really well recognised, and it's I like to see it. I like to see people just come in and be at the top with all the other guys. It's really makes the racing more entertaining, because obviously they've got less experience, they've got the speed,
yes,
and then the experience will come in time, so normally spices things up.
What it also does, James, it proves how good the courses are at Ferrari, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah, and we've got very good courses there, and they are recognised. All these drivers are all recognised, and it gets noted. And if it means that they get a test in the future with a wet car or a GT2, and it's great to see. So impressive.
Well, what it does mean with Chris Froggatt out of the race is all Jens Liebhausen needs to do is finish the race to take the AM title, and he's actually P8 at the moment. So, and with under 6 minutes of the race remaining, the safety car is out. I was saying the Mugello team, in terms of getting cars back to recovered, have been very, very quick this afternoon. Looks like it could be a shoe-in for Jens Liebhausen in terms of that AM championship. We will see. Where, of course, it's disadvantageous, or is it actually? I was going to say it's for Niklas Nielsen. Is it? Because Fabio Lima was always within 8/10 of him. Actually, it could be advantageous for Niklas, because it's going to be down to Fabio, assuming we get a restart, of course, for Fabio to try and anticipate when Niklas is going to give it a full. Yeah,
that'll be key. He'll almost need to, if they do restart, dummy Lima.
Yes.
Just before the start and finish, but if you can get close enough up to turn one and get in that slipstream, there could be a last minute dive up the inside. So we'll see. But I hope they get restarted. But
so
it depends if they're still in the gravel or not.
Well, we will see. We're on board with the Alessandro Vezzoni car. You'll recall he was overtaken by Sam Smith earlier in the race. And a nice bit of camera art from one of our cameramen there looking through the reflection. The incident involving those cars is under investigation, and as James indicated, he always thought that would be, because it was a difficult one. But just to let you know and confirm that Chris Froggatt being out of the race, the British driver, him being out of the race will give the AM classification to Jens Liebhausen as Holger Harmsen's team looks on. Holger Harmsen, the German driver who's leading the 458s. He's got Tommy Lindroth between himself and Galip Attar, who's the second in the 458s at the moment. Lights staying on, so we're going to get at least another. Oh, that's going to be close. At least another lap. So the 458 title still could go the way of the German driver Holger Hampson. It's going to take tomorrow's race to determine it because they are so close. And Galapatar will, if it stays this way, will finish on 202 points. Holger Hampson on 191, so 11 points in it. It's going to be a nice fight. And I think that's been the mark of the season all year long, James, that we see Manuela, who's out of the car, and I think she was trying to hitch a lift back on the moped there and failed to get it, and just behind her is Chris Froggatt. So Manuela succeeds in... It's funny how she got a lift before Chris Froggatt. I wonder why. Manuela, who's been so successful as a lady racer. Yeah, the fights all the way through the season, I was saying, James, have really been intense, but fair and great fun. We've seen some tremendous racing in the challenge this year. Yeah,
when I'm at home and I've got some free time, I'm always watching it. I find it so entertaining. The racing is close. You know, you've got a lot of scraps. You get a few accidents.
Yes.
So it's great for the fans, but you know, you've also got such a mix of different drivers. It's so good to see the ladies. It's good to see amateurs all at a high level. So.
Well, safety car is going to come in this lap, James. It might be only one lap behind the safety car because this could be a real last lap dash for cash, couldn't it? Fraught finish.
All down to Nielsen getting on the gas as soon as he can, trying to trick Lima. But Lima's experience, you know, so it will be all or nothing into turn one, I guess.
Well, going to be very interesting to see as the cars are making their way now towards the Corrienteo turn, and then it will be the chicane, and it will be down to Niklas Nielsen to decide, won't it? It's his responsibility to decide when he wants to go for it, and he's weaving from side to side to try and generate some temperature. Fabio Lima, who's P2, of course, he needs to try and anticipate when he thinks Niklas Nielsen is going to go for it, and look how close he is onto the back of the Niklas Nielsen car. Jens Liebhauser, all he needs to do is finish the race. He will be champion. So my bet is Niklas Nielsen would go for it off the back of this chicane. But then, what do I know? Not much, truthfully.
I think they've gone from what I could hear.
Thanks, James. Appreciate that. So come on, let's pick up. Where is Nielsen? There's Jens Liebhauser then. So here comes Nielsen, Fabio Lima. I don't think he's close enough to be in the toe, is he?
No, it's a good job by Nielsen.
So this is going to be the final lap. It's now or never. So Fabio Lima into turn number one now. Niklas Nielsen with it all under control, seemingly. Fabio Lima, the one that's got to do the chasing. And he's got the remainder of this lap to do it. But it's all very well being as quick. He's got to find a way past the young Dane Niklas Nielsen then, who set the fastest time in qualifying. That gave him pole position for the race today. And apart from very early on in the race, he hasn't really looked too threatened from Fabio Lima. Guy with a lot of single-seater and racing experience. Fabio Lima is no slouch, that's for sure. And you can see already these two have really broken away. But it looks like Sam Smith has got ahead of Philip Barron and Bjorn Grossman. I could just see from the back of the picture. I don't know if that is the case, but it looked like there was a yellow car ahead of them. We will see when we pick up on that picture, but at the moment, as you can understand, we're focusing and staying with this battle at the front between Niklas Nielsen and Fabio Lima. It's now that Nielsen needs not to make a mistake. Just keep everything under control, keep the focus, and bring it home. So the yellow car that we saw was a back marker, so Barron does stay ahead of Grossman and Smith. It wasn't Smith that had gone through in a daredevil mood. Safety car restart is under investigation. Whether someone overtook before the safety car line, James, one of the other drivers perhaps?
Could well have been, yeah. It's difficult. Couldn't really see anything, but yeah, these guys are pushing though. They've gained 4 seconds to P3, so there we go.
Niklas Nielsen is going to take the win. He flashes his lights in appreciation. He wins from Fabio Lima, who takes a P2. And as James Collado alongside us has said, already in the space of one lap, they'd opened up an incredible, looks like Laurent Demuse has gone round.
Oh.
Claudio Schiavone is going around now. This on the last lap then.
Oh dear.
Well, cars going everywhere, James.
Yeah, everywhere.
Or Tani Hanna there. Losing
Damage
the back
for...
end, yes.
Cars grabbing big time there, number 81.
Yeah, that's the British driver who's in trouble there. Bonomi Grimes, who of course has been racing in GT Cup and Brit Car before making his debut in the Ferrari Challenge. So 347 it is that it's Henry Hassid. So he'll get a penultimate. He'll get a time penalty now, won't he?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the time penalty is for a drive-through. Is it 20 seconds?
It's got to be, hasn't it?
20 seconds.
That's Mark Brough, then another British driver. He's out of the. He was involved in that right at the end of the race. Let's see it.
Oh.
So that was on the inside of the number 30 car of Joshua Kartu. Tani Hanna trying to avoid a spinning car. I don't know whether Tani Hanna did make contact. Well, he certainly went around, look.
I think it was a bit of a do-or-die move for a last lap position. Yeah, well, that is just
Tani
close.
almost being collected by a number of cars.
Never nice on the last lap, obviously,
No.
to not finish your race.
Wow. Well, there we are for Formula Racing. So overtaken before the start-finish line then for the driver Henry Hassid, who of course is involved in that Copa Championship, and that might decide the Copa title, because without it there'd be 18 points between Lawson and Hassid. So here's Niklas Nielsen though, and James as a top driver, race-winning GT driver. Got to say, it was a fairly polished performance from young Niklas.
Perfect, absolutely perfect. You can see he's extremely quick, very talented, did everything right. At one point was defending Fabio after about 3 or 4 laps, so managed to stay in front, calm under the restart, so great to see and well deserved.
James Collado, we thank you very much for being with us. We know you have a pressured schedule, and now the race is done and dusted. We'll say thanks very much, and hopefully you'll be on air with us tomorrow, but if not, of course, goes without saying, you carry all our hopes into Fuji next weekend.
Always a pleasure, thank you.
James Collado then alongside us, thank you very much. Right, so we'll get a roundup now of where we're at in terms of the points regarding those championships still to be decided. And that could cost Henry Hassid dear. There's Philippe Barron then, who takes P3. He'll be up on the podium, along with Fabio Lima and Niklas Nielsen. I was trying to listen in to what Philippe Barron was saying, but of course, naturally, it's not English. Well, one very, very happy Jens Liebhauser, because he has taken the championship. He has taken the AM title. P2 at the moment, Martin Nelson. Then it's Chris Frogger P3, and of course, Chris Frogger's DNF not helping. So lots and lots and lots of congratulations down there for Formula Racing, the team that engineer, of course, Jens Liebhauser and Niklas Nielsen. Niklas Nielsen taking the win from Fabio Lima, Philippe Barron, Bjorn Grossman, Sam Smith, Alessandro Vezzoni, all the pro drivers. AM driver Jens Liebhauser, P7. Then it was Nazi, Martin Nelson, and Johnny Lawson taking P10 in the race overall. And then it was Eric Prinot. Best of the ladies, Fabian Volven then, P12 in the race overall. So good result for Fabian Volvend. Okay, let's take a look at the challenge show now as we catch our breath. Eric Prinot there. We can also reveal that Johnny Lawson has done enough to become Copa Shell champion ahead of Henry Hassid. Now, with regards to the 458 title, Holger Harmsen has finished ahead of Galip Attar. There's Fabien Volvend, the Octane 126 driver. So the 458 title's still open until tomorrow's race, I think. And there is Holger Harmsen out of the car. The likable German driver. So lots of podiums to come then from the Ferrari Challenge Europe, and it is up to the podium next. As the evening begins to unfold here at the Mugello circuit and the lights come on, there we can see just some of the people enjoying the racing that we've seen today, and the European race in particular has been exceptional. So Jens Liebhauser has done enough to take the AM title, which means Trofeo Pirelli title's done and dusted, because the Pro title was won at Imola by Daniele Diamato. Jens Liebhauser has taken the AM title, and in Copa Shell, Johnny Lawson will become the Copa Shell champion. His result today will be enough. Whatever Henry Hassid does, it ain't going to be enough to count down the points tally that Johnny Lawson has. So, super slow-mo of our race winner, Niklas Nielsen, then, for Formula Racing. It was a good day before the race started for Formula Racing, having taken 3 pole positions in different classes. Michele Mambrelli once again will bring the drivers up out onto the podium. And their confirmation of the Pro classification: Nielsen, Lima, Barron, Grossman, Smith, Vezzoni and Zanazzi then. There is Bjorn Grossman. You can see to the very right of your picture there, the young German driver. And it's a packed pit lane just below the podium. We await the drivers to come out on the podium. Some of the beautiful cars that are here as part of the Finale Mondiali, of course the 70th anniversary year of Ferrari. P3 then in the Trofeo Pirelli race, Philippe Barron. Fabio Lima then takes P2, but taking the win and doing it in style, Niklas Nielsen. Here comes Holger Harmsen, the best of the 458 drivers. So say the very tall German driver. So baseball caps go back on, the winners' caps. Here comes the trophy presentations then. Philippe Barron receives his trophy. Alessandro Pierguidi making the trophy presentation now to Fabio Lima. And then, of course, to our race winner, Niklas Nielsen, pole position race win in his debut in the Ferrari Challenge. Well done, Niklas. Formula Racing then, what a race they've had, what a season they've had. Here comes the Pirelli trophy to Niklas Nielsen. Book some more luggage on your flight home, Niklas.
Del Trofeo 458, il vincitore del campionato Holger Hansen.
Holger Hansen, then the best of the 458 drivers. He takes his trophy, both the winner's trophy and the Trofeo Pirelli trophy as well. Stephen Rowe, the Pirelli head of racing development, making that presentation. Well done, Holger.
Tutti insieme, all together on the first step of the podium with your trophy up, lift your trophy, lift your trophy up and smile to photographers and TV. E siamo pronti per questa bellissima.
The lift instruction from Michele didn't necessarily go so well.
Trofeo Pirelli, invito gli amici. Mr. Rowe, le nostre due hostess ad abbandonare.
Here comes the champagne, and Niklas then launches the champagne, and excellent celebrations up there on the podium. So Trofeo Pirelli Pro, and also the 458. In the Drivers' Championship then, Daniele Diamato, he sealed it on 193 points. It's 151 points to Philip Barron and Sam Smith on 150. Just 1 point in it for P2 in that championship. And it's Bjorn Grossman, Alessandro Vezzoni and Fabio Lima. So Niklas Nielsen then up there enjoying that podium. Young, talented driver, that's for sure, Niklas Nielsen. I've had the privilege of talking about him in tin tops, in single-seaters, and now in GTs as well. Well, P3, Robin Jensen in the AMS. Martin Nelson, P2. Jens Liebhauser has done enough.
Il nostro applauso per questo podio Pirelli AM. I trofei d'onore sono presentati da Giancarlo Fisichella, pilota ufficiale Ferrari GT. Il trofeo per il terzo classificato per Robin Jensen. Sempre il trofeo che Giancarlo Fisichella consegna a Martin Nelson. E il trofeo d'onore per il campione per Jens Liebhauser.
So Jens Liebhauser then receives his trophy.
Formula Racing. E questo è il trofeo Pirelli che viene consegnato da Mr. Stephen Rowe al vincitore di gara.
So trophies all held aloft. Stephen Rowe, Pirelli head of racing development. So Robin Jensen, Martin Nelson, Jens Liebhauser, Holger Hansen down there. Looks positively exhausted. Hello. Fuel receipt added to the trophy there.
E lo show non è finito se non diamo spazio anche allo champagne.
Giancarlo makes haste his exit to ensure he doesn't get covered in champagne. Liebhauser doing a lap of the podium to make sure everyone gets covered. Brilliant stuff. There, a super slow-mo of the Formula Racing car driven by Jens Liebhauser. who has taken the championship for the AMs in this race. And of course was the winner of the AM race as well. And pretty happy about it too. It's been a good competition between Jens Liebhauser and Martin Nelson, and also with Chris Froggatt too, who sadly with a non-finish on 170 points, as you can see, is out of that championship chase. It was Jens Liebhauser on 205 points, had banked enough to be able to do it. So well done, Jens. And we still have Coupachel to do. The Coupachel podium for the gentlemen and amateur racers, of course, and the best of those. Johnny Lawson, then it will be Eric Prinot and presumably Fabian Volvend. So they're in the AM Drivers' Championship, as you can see. So Copa team, Formula Racing take. They're the power plant responsible for this phenomenal racing car. The Scuderia Autoropa team down there. Bjorn Grossman and Fabio Lima just discussing the race. And neither of them looking particularly happy, it has to be said. Another race to come, of course, tomorrow. And then, of course, the World Final races on Sunday.
Bravo.
So, Jens being congratulated as we get the Coupachel podium underway, just above that position where Jens is right now. Fabian Volvend then does go to the third step of the podium. Eric Prinot then takes a podium place. And Johnny Lawson has done enough. He has done enough. Formula Racing back up there on the podium. And Johnny Lawson, one of their drivers, on the top step.
Il nostro applauso per questo bellissimo podio dei vincitori. Trofei sono presentati.
So Johnny Lawson has done enough then to seal the Coupachel Championship.
Trofeo per il terzo classificato.
First presentation though to Fabian Volvend, Monica there, Eric Prinot's partner. As Davide Rigon is making the trophy presentations here, the top Ferrari GT driver. Eric Prinot then receives his trophy. And here comes Johnny Lawson's.
Lawson, il danese che si aggiudica il campionato 2017. Il trofeo anche per il team Formula Racing.
Formula Racing receive another.
Per la vittoria.
Henry Hassid has chased Johnny Lawson hard over the second half of the season. Eric Prinot, of course, gets double bubble because he's best gentleman racer as well in terms of that separate classification, and Fabian Volvend gets the Ladies' Cup as well. So there we have it then, all trophies presented on that podium. So they all get together for the photograph.
Sorriso, applausi, Ferrari Challenge.
Davide Rigon will make haste his exit stage left to avoid the champagne.
Grazie per questi bellissimi applausi. Adesso scappiamo via perché la battaglia con lo champagne.
Bye then. Ta-da, he's off. Johnny Lawson then wins the race and wins the championship. The next race, Ferrari Challenge North America Race 2, tomorrow at 1100 GMT. Make sure you do not miss that. So the podium celebrations continue up there. And here comes the bottle drop from Fabian Volvend. Oof. Didn't hear anything to suggest that it went wrong. Super slow-mo of Johnny Lawson then from Formula Racing. And there, Fabian Volvend for the Octane 126 team. So what a race then. And Johnny Lawson up there on the top step of the podium, having done enough to seal that championship. And of course to take the race win too. In the Drivers' Championship, Johnny Lawson on 193 points means that Henry Hassid on 152 cannot chase him down. Eric Chung on 101 points and Christoph Herney on 98. Look at that, in just 2 appearances, Fabian Volvend, P8 in the championship. Some indication of how quick she has been. Let's take a look at the highlights of the race now. So as the lights went green then, the cars went heck for leather into turn number 1. Niklas Nielsen was always going to be challenged, but Philip Barron it was that made his move up to P3. Fabio Lima around the outside of Niklas Nielsen, but there was nothing doing. Alessandro Vezzoni came under pressure from Sam Smith, and eventually the pressure paid off. A slight error from Alessandro Vezzoni was all that Sam Smith needed to go through and put himself up into P5. For the British driver, Formula Racing looked on because there was lots going on all around, including von Skeltermar under braking, losing the back end of the car. And this from being on board with the von Skeltermar car then. He did manage to recover, but not before doing a bit of lawn mowing before getting back out onto the tarmac. Vladimir Hladek made a connection with the Manuela Gosler car, and unfortunately that also took out Chris Froggatt, who his challenge and charge in the AM Championship would go awry following that. And you can see just how disappointed Chris Froggatt was. Safety car was out towards the end of the race, and actually it was going to be a last lap dash to the checkered flag, but Niklas Nielsen had got it all under control, and whatever Fabio Lima could do, it was not enough, because Niklas Nielsen would take the win, Fabio Lima would be P2, and Philip Barron would be P3. Holger Hansen was pretty happy with his 4.58 win, and Fabian Volvend took the ladies' cup, but Jens Liebhauser did enough for the AM Championship. So next race, Ferrari Challenge North America Race 2 tomorrow at 11. Bye-bye for now.